2, 1. Welcome back to Lady on the Street podcast. We're back with another episode, and you guys, this one means a lot to me because I went out on a whim and just decided, shoot your shot, girl. Never did I think I'd be saying that, but I did in this instance, and it worked. So I'm going to get started. All right. Today's guest is a top-notch style influencer in SA. With a love for fashion that can't be denied, she's showing off what it means to wear your clothes versus style them and handing out tips to all of us girlies who from time to time feel uninspired for an outfit. In other words, she's giving the people what they want, okay? Ari Alvarez Lozado with the Toasty Life is here. Thank you for coming.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This
Yeah.
is so exciting. I've never been on a podcast before.
No?
No.
Which
so-
surprises me because I'm like, your content is just serving everything. So
But I don't know. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But podcast is just like a whole new world for me. So this is so cool
Yeah.
and exciting. Yes.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm the excited one here. Okay, so I start every episode off with asking people, what are we drinking?
Okay.
What are we having? Yes. Palomas.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm not sure what I'm drinking because I just took whatever I got. So
Palomas.
Palomas.
Mhm.
And really good.
Oh, we should do a cheers.
Oh, sorry.
Cheers. I only recently started having these, and I'm not really a grapefruit girl, but for this I like it.
Oh, Palomas are great.
Yeah, so good. So, all right. Let me just do a little backstory here. So, one day I was sitting on my phone, and in my algorithm pops this girl, right? Ari. And whenever I have to also go back and say that I wasn't sure if you go by Ari or Ari. Ari.
Both.
Both.
I
Okay.
think, yeah. And if you say it in Spanish, it's Ari,
Ari,
but
yeah.
everybody calls me Ari here.
Okay.
So
What is it short
Okay.
for?
Adriana.
Adriana.
Yes.
Okay. Adriana.
Adriana. But
Okay.
my dad nicknamed me Ari since I was a baby. So
Uh-huh.
everybody knows me. When I hear Adriana, it's like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
It's like, run.
Okay. Well, then I won't call you Adriana then. Okay, so Ari, whenever I was scrolling through my like social media one night, I came across her content, and I was like, "This girl's great. I loved everything that you were putting together. I liked the vibe of your content. Obviously, you really have great style."
Thank you.
And so I just it stayed like that for a couple of months, but then I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, a week ago, I was like, let me just see, right? Because she ended up being here in San Antonio, which I find fascinating because there are not very many style influencers, style bloggers here in San Antonio that I've come across.
I mean, it's definitely a community that has grown, but not to, what's the phrase? I'm not going to toot my own horn, but
Yeah.
it's very different. At one point, there was a lot of mom bloggers and mommy
Mhm.
bloggers and things like that, and I think a lot of them evolved into the fashion, which is awesome because then you get that cool moms and that moms that are into fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's those of us that I guess we have a different style.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like you morph. You have like different styles for
Yes.
different things, you
Yes.
know?
I'm
Which
all over the
I
place.
love it
I
though.
admit it.
I admit it. Well, no, and I think it's good because I feel like for me, I've always like my husband would always be like, "Why do you have to get dressed up? We're just going to like Walmart, right?" And I'm like, "The world's my runway,"
Yeah.
you know. So I appreciate that, like the differences. I'm like, you don't have to have one certain style. You can
Yes.
change it.
Well, and that happened to me when I first moved to San Antonio. I grew up in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big city style, everything. And it happened to me that for a while I was in such a rut because I was like, well, nobody's dressing up,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I grew up with the mentality that you have to dress up to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, that was my mom. Those are the Mexican moms. I mean, you never know who you're going to run into.
Yes.
So I got into this rut that I was like, well, I don't have to dress up. And then it hit me, and I was like, no, you know what? I
Yeah.
love dressing up. I'm going to dress up for
Mhm.
myself. Like,
Yeah.
who
Exactly.
cares? And also, style in San Antonio has grown so much
Mhm.
that I think it is appreciated now a little bit more.
A little more.
Yeah.
Well, so let's go back into that. So you grew up
Okay.
in Mexico City. When did you move to San Antonio?
I moved to San Antonio. I guess well, go back. I play tennis,
Okay.
and I came to a tennis academy here,
Mm-hmm.
and I was back and forth to Mexico to see my parents. My whole family's in Mexico City, and then I got married 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to say that's when it was like full time because like you start your
Oh,
life, your
yeah.
married life and everything. Before that, it was a lot of back and forth with my family and
Yeah.
everything. So
So is your husband from here?
my husband is from Reynosa in
Okay.
Tamaulipas, so across from
Mm-hmm.
McAllen.
Yeah.
But we met here,
Here. Okay.
also playing tennis. So we're like a tennis
Oh
couple.
my
Yeah.
gosh, stop. So that's crazy. I would have never even thought a tennis academy would be like what
Yeah.
brought you to San Antonio.
Well, Texas has a really good level for tennis and
Yeah?
competitive tennis, and there's several academies in between here and Austin. Um, and it was
Yeah.
close to home. We had some ties here, so my parents said, "Yeah, San Antonio works."
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so your parents are still in Mexico City?
Yes,
What?
my mom and my brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. How's that been like living? Because it's pretty far away from them.
It's I mean, it's far. I kind of wish I could drive more, but
Yeah.
just like the border town, like the whole situation is not ideal.
Yeah.
But I mean, the flight's not bad. The
Yeah.
flight is under 2 hours, and you now have airlines like Viva Aerobus or things like that that are not
Mm-hmm.
expensive.
Yeah.
So there's options.
Yeah.
Definitely not bad. My mom comes often. My brother does too, and yeah.
So, and then tell me again. So you said how old were you when you came for the tennis academy here?
Uh, 19, 20?
19.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're a
yeah.
little bit older. So you
Yes.
did definitely then grow up in a traditional
Oh,
family setting with your family
yes,
and stuff.
in Mexico City. Yeah, for sure. We moved around quite a bit when I was young because of my dad's work, but I did. I grew up basically graduated everything in Mexico City, and then like I said, it was back and forth. I mean, I was here training, and then the off season I was in Mexico with my
Yeah.
parents. Yeah, so that's why like sometimes I don't say
You
I moved
moved
here.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was more like going to school
Yeah. No,
vibes,
you're
you
good.
know.
Yeah. What what is the biggest difference that you see like from I guess people raising families here? What's life like for that versus like your upbringing in Mexico City? What's the biggest difference?
I think family.
Yeah.
I mean, in Mexico, you do not move out until you get married.
Yeah.
I mean, and here it's so common to just you move out when you go to college.
Mhm.
And that's awesome too because you become more independent and you grow up and everything, but definitely family. Like I lost my dad 3 years ago, and there's even people that tell me like, "Oh, you do so much for your mom." And I was like, "Well, yeah, like
Yeah.
that's how it is in Mexico. Like you
Yeah.
don't yeah. It's like the family. It's like you cannot get rid of them,
Yeah.
even if you try. Like you're stuck with them
You're
forever.
stuck with
So
them.
yeah.
Yeah. That is crazy because and for me I think like I guess it's Mexican American culture, right?
Hmm.
I'd like to think that at least for my experience, family is such a strong thing, but it still is different in that aspect where it's like when you're born in Mexico, when you're raised
Yeah.
in Mexico versus here, those subtle differences. Like when you turn 18, I was like, "Bye, I'm
Bye.
leaving,"
Yeah.
you know?
And it is. I mean, I've seen it more and more. Like it is okay now. I don't know if that was the pandemic or maybe it is that things are more expensive now that I see a
Mhm.
lot more kids, college kids
Yeah.
living at home or going back home, and
Yes.
it's a good thing,
It
you know.
is.
We sometimes grow up so fast that
Yeah.
we need more time with our parents.
Yeah.
Like somebody that lost her dad recently, it's like, yes,
Yeah.
like the more you can be with them, the better, and
I know.
you save money on like
I know,
on like
right?
rent and everything. So
Yeah, I try to tell, my oldest, I'm like, don't be so quick to grow up. But it's embedded in our culture
and
here, you know?
well, and teenagers, I mean, we've all been through that.
Yeah,
We
that's
think that
true.
if we don't live it in the moment, it's like
Yeah.
we're never gonna live it. And I mean,
Yeah. Well, that's true. I know.
yeah,
And I tell her, I'm like, I already know, Bailey. Like, I already know how
yeah.
this is gonna work out. Just listen to me. So,
Oh yeah, but I think that's not even like culture wise. That's here and wherever you
wherever
live, the
else,
other side
yeah.
of the world. I mean, we all want to grow up fast.
Yeah.
Um, but I've seen a like a change. I feel like it's not as like shocking to be close to your family as
Yeah.
it maybe once was. Oh my gosh, my voice.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Once was a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, okay. The other interesting thing that I love about you is that you're bilingual.
Yes.
And so your Spanish is just so good.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you.
I'm and I guess like is the Spanish your first language,
Um,
or did your parents just do a good job of teaching you
I
both?
think it was very lucky that well, yes. So we we were moved around quite a bit
Mm-hmm.
when like I was born in the East Coast actually. My
Okay.
brother who's older, he was born in Argentina. Like my
Okay.
parents
Yeah.
just got moved
Mm-hmm.
around a lot. And when they were transferred into Mexico, we were not supposed to stay there.
Okay.
So my dad said, "You know what? I want them to get at least like some base of English for wherever we end up moving."
Yeah.
So we went into, I guess, what you would call like a immersion program,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all English.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we learned like at the same time,
Yeah.
kind of, but
Mm-hmm.
it was in Mexico.
Yeah.
And in Mexico, I think it's very important for us to learn English because I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's taught pretty early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy though because I mean, it's not crazy. I think a lot of people can relate to this, right? Like my parents speak Spanish, my grandparents speak Spanish, but I'm part of the generation that just did not get it, you know?
Yeah.
Like they would speak it around me, I can understand it. I could maybe put a sentence together like if I really tried, but I cannot carry
Yeah.
a
But
conversation.
that's super normal.
Yeah.
Well, a little kind of story. It took me a while to figure out that here it's totally two different things to say I'm Mexican and I'm from Mexico.
Right. Yeah.
I did not know that when I first moved here. I
Yeah.
remember it was something we were talking about, and somebody asked me like, "Oh, wait, do you speak Spanish?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm Mexican." She was like, "Well, my roommate is Mexican, but she doesn't speak Spanish." And in my little like
Yeah.
brain from Mexico was like,
What do you mean?
what do you mean?" And then I understood. I was like, "Okay, so yeah." So that's when I said like, "Okay, no, no, I'm from Mexico." And she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, that makes more
Yeah.
sense." But I get it. And then talking to a friend, I guess this is if we're gonna go into like history and the whole thing, there is a whole generation that was shamed for
Yeah.
speaking Spanish, and that is so
Mhm.
sad. And
And
so
punished too. Yeah.
yes, and
Mhm.
I now that I have more friends here, like you say, like Mexican American or second generation, everything, they were like, yeah, our grandparents were like, don't let other people hear you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
is, I mean, thankfully times have changed.
Yeah.
And now it's such a perk to have kids know more than one language.
Yes.
But
Mhm.
I mean, don't be ashamed. I mean, it's how it was. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people got that, like you're
Yeah.
saying.
It's unfortunate, you know, and I wish I knew because I wish I had the ability to teach my kids Spanish. My husband can get by a lot better than I can. Like
Yeah.
he can carry a
Well, I
conversation.
heard you say several words when I walked in, and I was like, "Girl, no accent whatsoever." So
Oh,
you're
thanks.
you're on you're on a good track, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I just I am fascinated by you, and I think that
Oh my gosh, you're
all
so sweet.
I know this sounds so weird, but I am because I'm just like there's somebody here who's doing really cool things in on social in San Antonio, and I feel like San Antonio is always just like the forgotten city. You know, it's not LA, it's not New York, it's not Houston, Dallas,
It's
but it's
not
still
Austin. It's
it's not
like,
Austin, yeah, but
yeah,
it's still a major city.
yeah.
So I like to see that you're part of the change that's like helping it grow a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Get a little
well,
bit more
oh my gosh,
recognition.
that's such an honor
Yeah.
to be in that category, I guess.
And
But
well, well, and I did tell you, and I guess I made you a little nervous. Like I went back and was looking through your social, but girl, you have been doing this for like 10 years,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is crazy. I went back and I was like, I've got to see, you know. First, I was trying to figure out how you pronounce your name. I was like,
Oh,
maybe she'll say it in one of her stories or whatever.
yeah,
And then I was like, I have to tell her that I'm looking through her stuff because I was like looking liking some of your
yeah, yeah.
your posts, and she's gonna be like, what the heck is going
It's
on?
okay. We've all been there, so
Yeah, but I was like, damn, she's really put in the work, like 10 years. So
yeah,
take me back to 10 years ago, right?
yeah. So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go
No, no,
ahead.
no. I think there was more
No,
coming.
no, no. I was just gonna say, like, what? How did your like fashion? First of all, what do you go by? Do we say you're a fashion blogger? Do you say you're
I think
a
at one,
creator?
yeah, at one point we were all calling ourselves like bloggers, but that was just the term.
Yeah,
I really do like the new, I guess, what do you call it? Like name that is a content creator,
content
because
creator. Yeah,
that's a little bit more
broad.
accurate. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just because. technically, I mean, a blog is like somebody who
Right.
blogs, and
Yes.
not not a whole lot of people are doing that unless you're like a
No.
journalist or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think content creator is the most accurate.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with the term influencer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like first off, anybody can be an influencer. I mean, your
Yeah.
neighbor can be an influencer for having nice grass.
Yeah.
Um, and then I feel like to call yourself an influencer is like, so you have influence over people?
It.
You know,
I
it's
mean,
like,
you do. When I'm telling you, when I first came onto your page, you had one post that was like, I don't know what it was for. I think it was during the rodeo.
okay, yeah.
And guess why I bought red boots? Because I
Yes.
saw you had red boots on, and I was like, those are cute. Like,
Well, like I mentioned, I didn't grow up in Texas, so I
yeah,
didn't have
yeah,
cowboy
yeah,
boots. And it wasn't until a brand was like, well, we want to gift you some boots. And they
yeah.
were red boots. And I was like, oh my God. I'm not only going into like Western boot territory,
Hmm.
I'm going into red Western boot. Um, so yeah, so I have my
Yeah.
red boots and I love
Yes.
them. But it was my first time going to a rodeo. So I was like, I'm gonna like
Yeah.
break this look.
See, I love it. You play the part, right?
Fake it till you make it, girl.
No, okay, but yes, you are. I think what you're trying to say, or I don't want to speak for you, but what I'm getting is like, if someone were to say you've influenced me, you're an influencer, that's okay, but you're not going to be like, I'm an influencer. That's crazy for
I
you.
just, yeah, I feel like calling myself an influencer is like, are you, girl? Are you really? Like, honestly, if you say, like, you influenced me for the boots, that just makes me so happy.
Yeah. Hmm.
But that's you.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, it's like, so the term influencer, I understand it. I
Yeah.
know where it comes from.
Hmm.
But I feel like, thank God, the term content creator came
Yes.
around. Yeah.
Well, and it makes sense for you too because going back to your content, I saw that you like it's not just fashion that you're talking
Hmm.
about. You did like some home stuff, and
Yes.
so that's really cool. But going back 10 years ago, how did this like start off for you?
So I was full time playing tennis, and I really did not follow any bloggers. And I was like, I've always loved fashion. I always like loved getting ready and dressing up and whatever. And then I remember telling my husband, we weren't married back then. And I was like, I want to do like an online magazine. And he was like, so like a blog. And I was like, ew, no.
No, never.
Never like a blog. And I just started posting for fun. And it wasn't until I think again until we got married that it became like full time. Because again, I was like a family girl, and
Hmm.
everything depended on what my parents wanted to do and everything like that. So I think until I got married and we were more independent, more into my own stuff and everything, that I really was like, okay, let me settle down and
Yeah.
see where this takes me.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, it seems like it's obviously
Yeah.
worked out. Going back also, I wanted to ask you bring up family a lot. And in this journey, you're saying you took like a shift from being solely like the family girl to
Yeah.
doing your own thing. Were you close with your dad?
I was extremely close. It
Yeah.
was definitely it was I mean, I think the long story short, it broke me to
Yeah.
lose my dad. It was just like
Yeah.
we were extremely, extremely close. I was daddy's little girl, and I have my dad's personality.
Yeah.
So my brother has my mom's personality a little bit more. So I think
Mhm.
it's always like, okay, now I'm the oddball like
Oh,
out
I
of
see
it.
what
I
you're
mean, we're
saying. Yeah.
still all very close, really
Yeah.
good relationship. Like I adore my brother. We're super close.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we were super, and it was, I mean, this all happened during the pandemic. My
Mhm.
dad was diagnosed with cancer in July 2020. So it was
Mhm.
like peak of the pandemic.
Yeah.
The only good thing was that my husband was working from home. Thankfully, I had the flexibility, so we flew down to Mexico City and we stayed there the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
I mean, in a way, it worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we very, very close, tight knit, kind of like the Kardashians, like how everybody's
And
in
yeah.
the business without all the craziness that comes with the
Right. Yeah.
Kardashians. But I like to say how how everybody's like walking into everybody's house and just like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's us.
Oh.
Yeah,
So okay, so he was diagnosed in 2020,
2020.
and
Yeah,
then when did he pass away?
he passed away March 2021. It
So
was
that
very
was so
quick.
quick.
It was very quick. It was I mean, I could talk about this.
I know. Yeah.
No, but same thing. I mean, he was diagnosed. He had a cough. He didn't want to go in because COVID was going
Right.
around.
Mhm.
Who's gonna want to go into a hospital for a cough?
Yeah.
They found the cancer, and then it was like a series of unfortunate events. He was in the hospital for like a whole month, and then chemo worked really well.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, it just like came back, and it
Yeah.
was immune to chemo,
Yeah.
and that was it. Yeah.
I'm so sorry that
Thank
you and
you.
your whole family went through that.
Thank you.
I can't imagine the loss of a parent, right? But then something so sudden and so fast is
Yeah.
probably very detrimental to
It
you.
was, yeah, and I feel like we talk about, that's what I talk with my friends. Like, I think everybody struggled with the pandemic a different way.
Hmm.
And then for us, it was like we weren't, thankfully, he was at a hospital that it was COVID free. So we were
Hmm.
allowed to be in there.
Yeah.
But it was still like like a very, very intense
Yeah.
pandemic for us.
Hmm.
And then it was like, I remember when we would come to check on the house,
Hmm.
Texas was not on lockdown. So
Yeah.
I would come from Mexico from like nobody touch each other, and then you drive into Texas, and you're like, what? Where did I?
Texas, life is still lifing here. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was like opposites. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
That's crazy.
So that's why I say like it's just like this whole parallel universe that we lived in. For those, I mean, for almost like a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so tell me then, you did get this brand of yours started,
Hmm.
um, but while he was still alive. So, what are your parents like? What's their response been to
Oh,
what, you know?
it was hilarious though, because my dad. Maybe this is like living in Mexico City, and you're always a little bit more careful about what you post online, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a big city, and a little bit like you have crime and things like that. And my dad would be like, at first I didn't tell them.
Oh
I
yeah.
I was just posting for fun,
Yeah.
whatever. And it wasn't until I got invited to a local morning show here in San Antonio that I was
Mm-hmm.
like, my husband Arturo was like, well, you're gonna have to tell your parents
Yeah.
now.
Because you're gonna be on
You're
TV
gonna
now.
be on
Like,
TV.
yeah.
So I told him, and I sent my dad the link, and my dad's like, I just read your entire blog, and I was like, oh my god, dad, like makeup reviews, and I was like, did you really?
Yeah.
He's like, this
Oh.
is awesome, and then I mean,
Yeah.
he worked for big companies, and he started telling me like, oh, we can market this and that, and I'm like, but then he was not a fan of Instagram and Facebook and things
Okay.
like that,
Yeah.
so that was a little bit tough.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would be like, it was tough for me. I don't know if you noticed this, but I don't share my family. Like I talk about a lot about my family, but
Yes.
they're not featured.
No, yeah, you're right.
They
Mm-hmm.
hate it.
Really?
My brother is like anti social media. Like, don't you
Really?
even dare post a photo of me. My my dad was more like conscious because like I guess he was a businessman, so he was like,
Right.
I don't want to be on a blog.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little bit weird.
That's
Like
funny.
not me including them, but at the same time, I'm such a family girl.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. It's like a little space.
I think that it's okay though because there's obviously going to be different facets of your life
Hmm.
and you don't have to share all of
Yeah,
it, you know?
yeah.
You can keep certain things private and I mean, I feel like when people put themselves online, viewers think that they're entitled to know everything,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And whether you have a small following, a large following, whether you're a celebrity or not, I think that like social media has just really given people, I guess, what I don't even know what the word is that I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you're saying. It's
Like we want more, and it's like chill,
like there's no, what is the word?
like boundary. The lines are
Yes,
blurred.
or like there's no, that's not, I was gonna say aspect, that's not the word I'm looking for, but privacy. Like there's no
Yes.
line for privacy, because and I've seen this on comments, like not on my page, but I've seen this on like really even like celebrities and things like that, that the comments say like, well, with Kate Middleton now, with the Duchess, it's like,
Right. Yeah.
it's like it's, what did they say? It's her obligation to inform us, and we're like, what?
I'm like, no. Yeah.
I mean, and that's a really famous person. You're like, it
Yes.
really isn't.
No.
And I think that's something on social media, like you say, doesn't matter if your channel is big or small. I
Hmm.
think people, like a lot of people will think like, well, everything is free reign, to like tell
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Well, my dad with his cancer, he didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
So I remember people DMing me like, "Why are you in Mexico? Why are you here and that?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I just want to." And I know so many people struggle
Yeah.
and go through like either personal battle with cancer or a family member. And
Mhm.
my dad was like, "No, I don't want people to know."
Yeah.
And you have to respect that.
Yeah, you do.
Even if it
Mhm.
was affecting my life, like it was
It's
his
his
life.
life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something I learned. I think I learned before, like, okay, I'm gonna respect that. Yes, you are my brother, but it
Mhm.
is your choice.
Yeah.
And
That's
you probably know this having younger
yeah.
kids.
Yeah, no, I actually like went through, I think, not a phase, but there was a time where I would post a lot of them. And my page is like my personal account is private. And um, I would post them a lot. And so I still have a bit like a, I don't want to say it's not big. I have like 400 people that I probably share things with. But I don't know all 400 of them. Like, I wouldn't invite them over to my
Yeah,
house. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I'm like, I had just like this realization once where I was like, I need to stop really like sharing them so much. Not
yeah,
everybody needs every piece of like my life. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I think it's really cute, like sharing that part of your life, but I also try to put myself in their shoes and be
Hmm.
like, okay, would they want this?
Yeah, they don't have they can't consent
They
to
can't
it,
consent to it.
you know?
And maybe now, I mean, I'm assuming you're somewhat my age.
I was gonna ask, yeah, I don't know, you might be being very
I'm not.
nice.
I won't tell my age, but let's just assume that you did not grow up with social media in
I
school.
in school, no, I didn't. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be 35 this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's one secret I'll never tell. No, I'm kidding.
yeah.
But we did. Well, I didn't go to school with Snapchat and
No, I
Instagram and things
didn't.
like that.
That came out way beyond past
Yes.
when I was out of school. Yep.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, that's what I think about. It's like it'd be fine if these kids were growing up the same way we did, that
Mhm.
there was no social media. But
Yeah.
now it's like I want to assume I have no kids, by the
Yeah.
way,
No.
but
No.
I try to like
Yeah. No.
before people assume like, oh, she's a mom and she's not
No.
trying.
You're good.
But I wanna assume I have nieces and they're in college now.
You can have an opinion. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
It's a safe space. You can
Yeah.
have an
Like
opinion.
I want to assume that they're growing up with social media, and I mean, you don't know what they run into. So
No.
whatever you post, we gotta assume that they will eventually see
Yes.
it.
It's so true.
Um,
Well, I do struggle, and probably have talked about it on one of these episodes before with my older daughter, where I don't let her have social media. And I've had people tell me like she's gonna get social media, like whether it's on her phone or on a friend's phone, and I'm like, listen, if she goes leaps and bounds to like sign
yeah.
herself up for something and is sneaking it at school or whatever, like that's beyond my power. But what
Yeah.
I can control is like she's not gonna have it on her phone. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
let her use it in the house. Like
I love that.
I
I
try
mean,
really hard to, and I don't know. I don't know if that's the right or wrong thing to do, but
yeah.
like it's what works for us right now.
Yeah, same. I mean, I don't know, but I feel like what we were saying, like kids grow up so fast. We tried to grow
Yes.
up so fast as well.
Yeah.
In general, teenagers, I mean, I think it's just nature to want to grow up so fast.
Yeah.
That letting at least smaller aspects that you can control,
Yeah.
um, let them go with a bit of a natural, like more of a natural flow and let them be kids.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I call it the going back. I'm not a Kardashian fan, but the Kylie Jenner effect. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
she was
Hmm.
16, 17, and the makeup, the hair,
Yes.
the everything, it just makes kids grow up so fast, and
It's
that's social
so true.
media.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and I freak out too because, like, when I was growing up, listen, I was a tomboy.
Oh
Like,
yeah, same.
yeah, ooh, tomboy. Yeah, my sister freaks out because she'll say, like, you're so girly now, but growing up, you were playing with cows, you were in the ranch, like, you were
Oh,
just,
I was both. I
yeah,
was I was a girly tomboy.
yeah.
I mean, whatever that means, but
But
that was it.
no, so my mom would dress me up, and they tease because I always had these bangs when I was little, right? And so my mom would dress me up like really girly.
What was with the 90s bangs?
I
Why,
don't
moms?
know.
Why?
Yeah, I always had bangs, but I'd be dressed up really pretty, but I'd be running, so my bangs would be like sweaty to my. Yeah, it was a
Yes.
mess. But yeah, so my I don't know where I'm even going with this, but
It's okay, but I had flashbacks because,
yeah,
like I was saying, I have curly hair,
yeah.
and my mom insisted I needed bangs. Do not give bangs to a
A
curly
curly
hair
hair
girl.
girl.
No, no, no. Or at least if it's super curly, it's cute. But mine, it was like curly, but it needed to be long.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys will be able to see that, but
Yes, you'll see this. Oh, that's what we were saying. We didn't like I didn't have the makeup thing when I was in I
no.
don't even think I started wearing makeup in like high school,
Same.
but it was not to the nature that these
I
girls
didn't
are
I
doing it
didn't
now.
know like proper makeup in high school. I mean, I did a little bit of blush and a
Yeah.
little bit of either eyeliner or mascara, and that
Yeah.
was like as far as I would go.
Yeah.
Like I think if I applied foundation, it would look terrible.
I don't know how old I was, but I got my hands on this like Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. Do you remember that?
Yes,
And it
I
was
do.
like this weird like putty.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes.
I loved that stuff, but
Yeah,
I think that was one of the first foundations that I had like started using when I was
yeah.
older. I was probably like 17. But you're right, the Kylie Jenner effect. I think everybody feels like they need to look older,
They need to look
you know?
perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, looking at some of the high school girls, I mean, they're gorgeous,
Right. Yeah.
but like gorgeous and sometimes in a way that, I mean, I didn't look like that until I was like 20 something.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I
And
mean,
I'm like,
makeup is perfect,
yeah.
lash extensions.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys are expensive.
Yep.
Like
That's a whole other
I
issue.
know. Yeah, no. Well, I'm glad to know that A, you respect your family's wishes to not include them on your social, and B, that they were supportive of what you were doing. So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think, um, like I said, it's different growing up. Like in Mexico, I think parents always have that expectation of privacy. That was
Oh,
the word.
yes. Yes. Mhm.
Um, because of like this big city and like Mexico City in the 90s, there was a lot of kidnappings. There was a lot. So
Mhm.
I get it. You don't want to be a target. You don't want to be. So
Yeah.
it can be a little bit tougher to navigate. But now it's like my mom like loves when a friend of hers says like I follow your daughter and she's like super happy
Oh.
about it. So but I think they've also now adapted to social media.
Right.
I
Mhm.
mean, my parents are 65
Mine too.
ish.
Mhm.
So for them, I mean, if we didn't grow up with social media,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't
Imagine
expect
them.
them,
Yeah.
yeah, to be like all of a sudden
Yes.
like all for it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, my mom will now like she has her I think the older generation is more into like Facebook,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So she has a Facebook and she'll like post her selfies and I'm like, "You're so cute,
The
Mom."
selfies, the mom
Yeah.
selfies are super funny. Yeah.
The angle from I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
I love you so much."
yeah. They're so cute.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm just trying to get back on track
Yes. Sorry, I
here.
ramble.
No, I love it. It's
This is
perfect for
probably
a
what
podcast.
I was gonna say. That's probably why I don't have a podcast because I probably can't stay on
No,
on a
this
topic.
no, you did. You did though. I was gonna so going back to the IG, right? Would
Yes.
you say that Instagram or TikTok is your like what's your favorite social media platform?
I think Instagram, I really got into TikTok around 2019, 2020, and
Hmm.
then towards 2021. But then something that I liked about TikTok is that the algorithm was totally different to
Yeah.
Instagram. And then around 2022, it changed.
Yeah.
And now I again have like a love-hate with TikTok because I cannot figure out the algorithm anymore.
Oh, that's tough
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
But I think overall I still like the photography aspect of Instagram.
Yeah. Hmm.
TikTok, I feel it's fun. It's like quirky, very sometimes honest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if you want to be a little bit more artsy, TikTok is not the
You,
place for that.
yeah. Well, speaking of artsy, some of your content looks like it's straight out of like Elle, straight out of
Oh my
Cosmopolitan.
gosh! Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm like, who is taking your photos?
Most of them, my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Shout out to the husband.
shout out to the Insta husband. Um, we've grown into it as
Yeah.
well. I do sometimes get to shoot with awesome photographers,
Okay.
but
Hmm.
daily stuff is just, I mean,
Yeah.
poor guy. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, he gets exploited, poor thing. Um,
Oh.
but I know we've learned that just take 1,000 photos and I'll pick 3 of those. You're fine.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Just take so many.
I'll
Yeah.
edit the
Yes.
bleep out of it and
Yeah.
and make it look good.
That's so
But yeah,
funny. Take 1,000 and I'll
just
and I'll pick
yeah,
three.
it works. sometimes I do have to tell him, like, I want it to be artsy, like
Mm-hmm.
Instagram artsy, so he gets like different angles, and it's not
Yeah.
just like, yeah, the
Straight on.
outfit,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I say that, he knows it's like, okay, let me get like a weird
A
angle
weird
or like
angle.
a blurry or something like that.
I love that.
But yeah, poor guy.
Poor
He
guy.
works in finance, so he has no idea what what he's doing.
He's
But
like, I'm just doing what she's asking
I'm
me to
just
do.
clicking. It's like,
Yeah. No, I love that though. So are you, and that's what I was going to ask as well. So when it comes to even not just taking the photos, but a lot of your content, like your reels, they are super intense. I feel like,
oh, okay.
well, I feel like the editing aspect, and
Oh,
because I went back and
yeah,
I saw like how you started and what you would upload at one point, you've
yeah.
really progressed in your editing of this.
Yes.
Are you a one man band? Do you have an editor? Like,
No, I am a one-man band. I've landed on really good editing apps,
yeah.
and I feel like they've gotten really better. When I
Hmm.
first started doing videos, like the outfit videos,
Yeah.
that was 2019-ish,
Yeah.
2020. Um, Videos on Instagram were not as crisp and clean as they've gotten in the last 2 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then the editing, I was having to edit on my computer and then transfer and then crop. Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know, this was very recent to like 3 years ago that Instagram did like the TikTok.
Yes, where they match the dimensions.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
dimensions.
Hmm.
So you would have, I'm talking about this, and now that I think about it, it wasn't that long ago. Like Instagram has really,
They've really upped their game because they're
yeah,
trying to get rid of TikTok.
I know.
That's
I mean, I can really get into that one. But good or bad, they've improved their video
yes.
settings, and so it was a lot more time consuming to edit those videos because I had to edit on my computer. I was not liking the editing on
Oh,
my
yeah.
phone. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then now that I think with TikTok and with everything that a whole lot of more people are doing videos, then we get better editing apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even like your transitions are really good. I'm like, this seems
I
like a
love
lot of
transitions.
work though. Like,
I love doing transitions. I don't know why.
yeah, well, you're good at them. That's why. Yeah, she's like jumping off of one
Yes.
thing and landing in another outfit. I'm like, oh my
It
goodness.
stresses me out when I miss a transition. It's happening like a couple outfits that I don't know. Let's say like I do a twirl
Hmm.
and then I forget to twirl in the next
Oh
outfit, and
yeah.
I'm like, no, I messed it up.
No, yeah, I feel like that's too much admin for me. I can't do that, but I give you kudos for.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
you're
That's
good. You're
right.
good. Get comfy.
There you go.
Yeah, no, you're good at that. So,
Thank you.
um,
Thank you.
so how would you describe your style?
Oh, I don't know. I've gotten that question several times and I
Yeah.
never know what to answer. Because, like, hmm,
Ooh, I stumped her.
you did.
It's like chameleon. You're like a chameleon.
It depends, like, yes, the trends. Um, but at the same time, I feel like I just want to wear what I like.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm not, I don't know. How, I think it's easier. How would you describe my style?
I'd say a chameleon
A
for
chameleon?
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really do like that you can just switch it up. And one thing is like, so at my 9 to 5, I like to dress up every single day,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like to dress up every day. People will ask me like, even my sister will be like, you wear things that like I feel like I could never wear. And my biggest thing is like, you can wear it.
You can.
It's not about like not being able to wear it. It's about like the confidence of wearing it. Does
Yeah,
that make
yeah.
sense?
Well, I get that a lot from several friends. It's like, I love how you're wearing this, but I could never. And I was like, but why?
Yeah.
Like, is this something that you don't feel comfortable, or you just feel like it's too out there, too modern, too like
Mhm.
trendy for you, or what is it, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just like, yeah, it's too trendy. And I was like, well, then anybody can wear it, you
Yeah.
know? It's
Mhm.
just if you like it, and that's something I feel like I like about fashion. If you like something,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah.
It's not about like whether you can or you can't. You know,
Yeah.
as long as you feel comfortable in it and you like it, I mean, why not?
Yeah. Well, you do a good job of that. So yeah, chameleon. Chameleon is what I'm
Chameleon.
gonna
Okay,
call
I'll
it.
go with that.
So next time someone asks you, you're gonna be like chameleon. Do you have a style icon?
Oh, interesting. I have several. Um, I, it's, I don't know. You sent me again. Let's just, I mean, if we're gonna go for someone that is right now going on, I have a major crush with Zendaya.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
like I mean, her everything, like everything is polished, and then at the same time, she can wear flats. I mean, sweats and whatever, and
Yeah.
like I like that.
Yeah. No, she's good, and she's real good about also mixing it up. Like she'll have the very like classy, simplistic
Yes,
look on a runway one day, and then you'll see her again, and she's like funky and out there. And yeah,
yes,
I feel like she does.
and I feel there's like different people. I mean, if you go all the way to like, for example, like the French girl, very French it girl, like Jane Birkin or something, like just the jeans and the baggy and a little bit more like boho hippie chic. I mean, I
Mhm.
love that too.
Yeah.
I think it's more like what you're feeling that day
Yes.
and
Mhm.
how you're feeling, you
Yeah.
know? If you're feeling bloated, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever you can wear at home.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
but I think I also like I'm a jeans girl.
Yeah.
I love jeans.
Do you?
Yes, jeans and a t-shirt, a white t-shirt will
You
get
can
me
do
through.
so much with it, honestly.
Yes,
You can.
yes.
And I wish I liked jeans more.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it's not about the jeans per se. It's about the cut of the jean
Yeah.
that I haven't found like the
Yeah.
best cut for me. You know?
That is true.
Yeah, because I think jeans work for different body types differently. I
Yes.
think. I mean, you obviously can wear whatever jean you want,
No, no, no,
but
but it is true. Sometimes, for example, I'm a huge fan of Levi's,
hmm
and it's weird that Levi's, the regular jeans are tighter on the leg,
yeah,
but they're wider on the waist.
yeah,
So sometimes just figuring out what size you're can be
hmm
super overwhelming.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, give me a dress. It's
Yeah,
super easy. Give me a
yeah,
skirt, and you just throw it on, and it fits.
yeah. But I mean, going back to style icons, I think I don't know. I'm a classic girl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do have classic
I
style.
like the classics.
And the other thing I was gonna say is you really do like know your shit. Like I saw your YouTube video over the Birkin, and I was listening to it, and I'm like, damn,
Oh.
you're like you looked that stuff up, like, or I don't know, how do you know all of this stuff?
Um, I mean, when it's something I like,
Yeah.
especially purses. I mean,
hmm
yeah, purses take my money. It's
Yeah.
like I have a weakness. But it comes when it comes to that, I feel like you're spending a good amount of money. I want to know what goes into it.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes it's easier, like a Birkin, it's such a historical piece by now
Yeah.
that I guess you kind of know the history behind it and whatever. But at times, part of it, I'll research it for the video and see where this comes from. And part of it, I feel like, okay, yeah, I want to know what is going on here. Why am I paying so much for you?
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
But yeah, part of it is research, being a good, responsible YouTuber and researching my content.
Right, yeah.
And part of it is knowing like the history of fashion, history of trends, and history of timeless pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought for sure it was like she must have like studied fashion in school or something.
No, yeah, no.
You're like, no, no, I'm a tennis girl.
I like it. Yeah, I'm a tennis girl. But I've always loved fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that go back to your mom? Did you say she loves fashion just as much as you,
Um,
or?
no, she's for sure someone that is stylish. Like she loves getting ready and everything. But I think when it comes to actual fashion world,
hmm
I'm not sure where that came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was not. He was like, I cannot understand how you're spending that much on shoes or bags,
Yeah.
but I can spend it on a fishing rod.
Yeah.
It's like my dad was a
We all
sailor,
have our,
so
what is it,
yeah.
our own vices, right?
Yes. I was like, when he told me, like, oh, yeah, I'm buying this and it's like a super cheap price for this and that. And I was like,
What are you talking about? You're like,
are we,
that's not a good deal.
yeah, are we paying that for like a fishing chair? I was like,
He's like, it has a back massager.
yeah, something like that.
Okay, let's touch a little bit on married life.
Okay.
Okay, I saw that you guys really renovated your home,
Oh my gosh.
and I thought it was funny because it was relatable for me. You said the home you purchased was, in your eyes, a fixer-upper. But you asked the question, you're like, what is a fixer-upper? Because when we moved in here, this
Yeah.
was completely different.
Yeah.
You could live in it as it was.
Yes.
And I would tell my mom, but it's not me. Like, I don't want to live
Yes.
in that, you know? And she'd be like, you're so spoiled. Like, oh my
That's
God.
that's why I think I said that, because I want to be very careful, because I feel a lot of people with all these shows going on,
Right. Mm-hmm.
like a fixer upper is really like a dump.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I in no way would call my house a dump or your house a
Yeah.
dump, right? But
Yeah.
in my eyes, there's so much I want to do and
Yeah.
change.
To make it to your
Yes.
liking. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I called it a fixer upper because it is an older home.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I mean, not super old, but it was built in the 80s, but it was authentic 80s.
Yeah.
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 The guy that built it lived it for
Yeah.
30 plus years. So, I mean, he did not touch anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I called it a fixer up. But like to what you're saying, like I don't want to say it and sound spoiled because
Yeah.
yeah,
That's yeah, my mom would be like, she would tell people like, I don't know what she's talking about, and I'm like, Mom, you just don't get it. I'm not saying I
yeah.
couldn't live there. I'm just saying I want it to
Well,
look different.
even
Like,
my mom said that, and this was like a house that had an 80s cooktop.
yeah.
I mean, it had a toilet with the middle of a bathroom with a pony wall, no door. And my mom would say, like, you don't really need to rush into it.
Yeah.
Don't be spoiled. You don't need to do everything. And I was like, I need doors, Mom.
Yeah.
I can't use the bathroom without a door. I mean,
Yeah. Don't rush into
at
it.
least
Yeah.
a door.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Um,
yeah, it's funny. Your parents are like, humble yourselves.
Yes,
And I was like,
yes.
yes, I know, but like, yeah, I get you.
But I think if we're going to go into it, it's a double-edged sword because in a way, I think we've also been, um, what's the word? Corrupted by all these TV shows of wanting to like
Yes.
redo everything.
Everything. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we have our parents that are the extremes that they will save their furniture for 50 years.
Yes.
And to them, you don't get rid of your furniture.
No.
And to
Mhm.
us, it's like, well, now I want to redecorate, so I need new furniture.
Yes.
My
Mhm.
mom does not get that.
My mom doesn't either.
And I think that's a generation thing.
I think so for sure. And we're saying they're about the same generation.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, my mom is like, she just says, she's like, you could never survive like with her upbringing. And I'm like, yes, I could, Mom,
I
but
think you adapt.
yeah,
We
I'm
would
like,
adapt.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I could, and she's like, no, you're just like, she just teases me, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
But
it's not my fault that I like it.
I think I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. I think for starters, like generation wise, back then, if you were not a designer or
Yeah.
an interior decorator, you did not care that much about
No.
your decor. Everybody's house was somewhat the
The
same,
same,
you
you
know.
had like an apple kitchen or grapes,
Yeah,
or
yeah, like it was a trend, and that was what everybody. I mean, I see it here a lot in Texas.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the homes that are 2005 and earlier are very Tuscany.
I call them like Texas. They're Texas homes. They just look so
But they're Texas, but with a Tuscan flair.
Tuscan flair. Yes, you're right.
Like it's like you're saying, like there's apples everywhere
There's-
and like the grapes and everything, but then there's like this Texas star.
A star? Okay, yes. Yeah, that's so funny because when we were looking for, this is our second home. Our first home was, we redid it as well, but we redid this home because it was like
This is stunning,
the
by the way.
stars. Thank you. But yeah, it was like the iron stars.
Yes.
And like this home though was like, at least it wasn't built into like the brick or anything. 'Cause
Okay,
some of them
yeah,
have
yeah.
it like that.
Yes,
where I was
yes.
like, we can't change that.
Yeah.
But even to the colors, like they're all like orangey brown.
The
and-
orangey, our previous house had the exact same colors. It was like an orangey brown floor. It was a yellow kitchen
Yeah.
with the brown cabinets with like the kind of yellowish brown countertops. I mean, it was
Yes,
a lot of brown going on. And then the outdoor fan had a Texas star. Yeah.
Not the Texas star.
And I love Texas. Texas has been good to us.
Yeah,
so.
I love Texas, but I don't.
It's funny. It's blending those two styles. And then we found this house and it was completely different. That's when we
Yeah.
realized, like, also we started looking around 2020, 2021, and building still is super expensive.
Yeah.
And then buying a new home was super expensive, but they all look the same.
They do. You're right.
And I'm very particular about my
Yeah.
style. So I was like, I, I don't want to buy a brand new home, pay for what they're charging,
Mhm.
and then remodel it.
Yeah.
Like we won't have money left, you know.
Right. Mhm.
And we just got lucky. We found that
Yeah.
house, and
Oh.
but yes, I call it a fixer upper because it did have certain things.
Yeah.
It had carpet in the bathroom, so I'm gonna go with that is a
That's a
fixer
fixer
upper.
upper. That's a fixer upper. Yeah. We did not have carpet in our bathroom.
But it was technically, yes, it was livable.
Yes.
And we did live through most of the remodel. We just had to, we did the floors and paint and the demo before we moved in.
Yeah.
Everything else, I mean, only one of our bathrooms, which is our bathroom, was remodeled. Everything else is the same.
The same. Yeah.
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 And it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's just cosmetic. And I personally love having projects around the house.
Yeah.
We are actually just about to start our laundry remodel,
Oh, I love
which
that.
that is like adulting 1,000%.
For sure. My husband was just talking. I feel like that's what they do, right? Once you get married, if you end up getting a house, right? Andy just wants to change everything. Like, and I'm like, okay, you do you, boo. But like,
Really,
and then I have to tell him like, we're not gonna do every project all at once. Like, let's focus on.
that's me.
That's you.
Yes, I want to do everything. I have so many ideas. I
Yeah.
write them down because if not, like I
I
forget them because I get more ideas.
More, yeah. No, I love that though. But it's good to have one of those. So, who has more of like the? I guess do you guys have the same style when it comes to remodeling? Your husband and you?
Yes and no. Like
Okay.
my husband likes my style, but he is not, and this is not throwing him under the bus because he'll tell you he's not creative.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, he is not. And he is kind of one of those, like the memes that you tell him, like, I'm looking for a table and our whole house is white, and he'll come with a brown table. I'm like, no. You know, it's like things like that.
That's funny.
But he does have a similar style.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm looking right now with the laundry, he's like, I can't picture it in my head.
Yes.
I need to see it. So I have to, I'm okay not doing mood boards,
Yeah.
but he needs
He
to see
needs
that.
it, yeah.
He needs to see the design.
I love that. And well, it's good that you're able to do that for him though.
But he keeps me grounded. 'Cause
Yeah.
I could, I mean,
Yeah.
no, I could go crazy
Yeah.
with
Yeah, no,
projects. Yeah.
I do love, like, I hate living through them, but I love picking everything,
Yeah,
designing it, and I'm
same.
like, just do it all in one day. Like, hurry up.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. No. Oh, that's good though that you guys are like you can meet in the middle when it
Yes,
comes to
I don't
that.
know if that was a question, but there was like something about marriage and
Yes. So yes,
and the
I think that
fixer-upper.
was me. I went off topic.
No,
But
no.
how long have you guys been married? You said y'all got married 7 years?
7 years, yeah.
Yeah?
7.
Okay, and y'all met at tennis
Yes.
academy?
Yes.
A tennis academy?
Well, playing tennis, yeah.
Playing tennis. Okay.
Yeah.
7 years of marriage. How's it been going?
It's good. We're
Yeah?
very happy, yeah.
Good. I saw it must be the secret to happiness is that you guys live next to like a horse ranch or something.
Oh, it must be. It's just the animals. No, it's this house. We've been living in this house for 2 years.
Mhm.
And I love horses.
Mhm.
Love them. But like I said, my dad was a sailor, so
Mhm.
we grew up basically
Yeah.
at sea.
Yeah.
But I love horses. And then we found this house, and while we were looking at it, we hadn't closed on anything. I looked towards the fence, and there's like 2 horses looking at us.
Oh my
And I was
gosh.
like, oh my God, there's horses. And my neighbor rescues, rehabs, and trains horses. So she has a couple that are her own, and then a couple that she's rehabbing and maybe potentially finding a new home for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So
That's
now
so cool.
I'm taking my riding. Like
I
I
love
know the
it.
basics to ride.
Yeah.
So now she's teaching me the whole thing.
Oh, so
Yeah.
sweet. Okay, and then you guys have I don't want to insult your dog, but he's like a horse on his own.
My
He's so
dog.
big.
Oh, my
Well, you have one or two?
two.
Two. One is Baloo,
Baloo
like
and
the Jungle Book?
the Jungle Book.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, makes sense.
And then Baloo is 7, almost 8.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he'll be 8 this summer.
He's y'all's baby.
Yes, he is. He arrived the same year we got married. So
Yeah.
and he's a very young 8-year-old.
Uh-huh.
Well, they're giants. They're Newfies. They're Newfoundlands. So
Yes.
technically,
They're so big.
giants live less, but
Yeah.
so 8 years old for a giant is technically a senior,
He's
but we don't
older.
tell
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know. And then last year we got Cusco.
Okay.
Cusco, like Emperor Cusco.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
He
that.
is literally Emperor Cusco. Like
Emperor
the
Cusco.
personality is on point. And he is also Newfie, and he's a big boy.
Yeah.
Like he's bigger than Baloo. So yeah.
They are just so big. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with those. What are they called again?
They're Newfoundlands, so they call them
Newfoundlands.
Newfies. Yeah.
Newfies. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with dogs of that size, but
Yeah.
they're gorgeous.
They're just gentle giants. I mean,
Yeah.
they're, I want to say, kind of like around Saint Bernard. Kinda
Yeah.
like they're. I mean, I can do a whole podcast on dogs. But,
Yeah.
but they're originally bred for water rescue and water work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's how we ended up having them because, again, my dad is a sailor. He loved
Mm.
the history of dogs and everything, and they're just sweet, sweet guys.
Oh
So
my gosh. Well, they're like your babies.
yeah.
Do you and your husband want any babies?
We've talked about it, of
Yeah.
course. We just I feel like, I mean, it's never going to be the right time, but a lot of things had happened.
Yeah.
I remember 2020, we were talking like, okay, we've been married for, what was it, 2, 3 years, like maybe we could talk about it. And then the pandemic started, and we're like, okay, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Again, my husband
Scary.
works in finance, so the whole finance world was upside down. We're like, okay, this is not a good idea. Then whole issue with my dad, then emotional breakdowns and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's on there. If it happens, it happens. If not, we're just super
Yeah.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll continue doing your content, living life, and
Yeah.
going horseback riding.
Of course. Yeah. We'll add another activity somehow.
Yeah. No, renovations. Right?
Renovations. We'll keep remodeling. That's fine.
No, that's good. I ask this to pretty much everyone that comes in that's married. What would you say is like the best thing and the worst thing about being married?
Oh, it's putting us on the spot.
I know.
I mean, the best thing is like always having like a partner in crime. I feel like having your best friend, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your partner in crime. You'll always have somebody. Somebody always has your back.
Yes.
And I love that. And downside, I don't know. We're very similar, so I don't.
You don't butt heads a lot or anything.
No,
Yeah.
not a whole lot. I mean, we're very similar, but at the same time, we're different. That, like I said, he grounds me. I'm like the one that like kind of can get riled up and like likes to argue and fight, and he's like more calm, and he's the numbers guy, and I'm like, what numbers? Like they're out the door. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I tell Andy, I'm like, you work with numbers, but I work with words. So,
yeah, there you go.
like, they don't really mean much to me.
Yeah. I'm like, well, can we do this? And Arturo's like, well, you know what our numbers are. And I was like, do I? I don't know. To remind me what those are.
You're like, tell me what they are after we do this thing, you know?
I'll need an updated spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But downside, I feel at times, this is when I was about to get married, maybe it's like, I don't know if this happened to you, but you won't be the little girl in the family anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You know, kind of like,
Yes.
but I think it's a good thing too, because you become independent and you get like all this. Maybe, again, going back to that whole Mexican thing that you don't leave home until you're married, or you're not independent until you get married.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless you're like 50s and whatever,
right.
you know,
Yeah,
you never
no,
get
no,
married,
it's
but in general, and
I see what you mean. It was taking that. It was really transitioning into a new part of your life.
Going from being like, I guess my last name is Alvarez Estado, like the little girl, to like being Arturo Perez's wife.
Yes,
you know, it's like
right. I think that's different. I think I get that. I don't think that happened for me just because we had a baby before we were married.
Okay.
So I didn't get. But moving out and the pregnancy did that for me.
Well,
I was
you
like,
did
I'm
that because you're
a
like
kid anymore. Like,
well, I'm not the baby of the family.
Yes.
I'm having a baby.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
I mean, I guess
exactly.
you'll always be the baby of the family. You know, that's what my mom always says. But
Yeah, I'm the youngest, so I'm the baby. But
but the feeling.
The feeling, I was like, I guess I'm an adult now.
You know how you've probably seen those TikToks that they make fun of like people bringing home their baby, and it's like, what have we done? You know, it's like, how do they just let us go
They
home
took
with a
they
human?
yes.
You know?
Annie laughs because with Bailey, he's like, I swear you would have wanted to stay in the hospital for a week because
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, I was there for like 3 or 4 days, and he's like, they were like, you can go home now, and you're
Well,
like, no, I can't.
and you have three, so now you know what to expect when you
Mhm.
when it's your first one. It's like
Yeah, and I am the baby, so I never had like a younger
same
sibling to
thing. I was
yeah
the youngest. We were just the two of us, and then I
yeah
was also the youngest of all my cousins.
yeah
So I never had to babysit.
yeah.
I never, you know, so, and I remember I always make fun of my mom because she was, and my brother, same thing, because I do not like to carry newborns.
Oh yeah
Not
yeah.
because I don't like them. It's just
No,
like,
you're scared, like you're nervous.
but I tell my mom, this was your fault.
Yeah.
You would sit me down and be like, okay, if you're going to carry the baby, go sit down, put your hands like that, and then you would place them, and they'll be like, don't move. So that's the only way I know how to carry a newborn. So
just like
yeah, and I'm a tomboy.
yeah
I have giant dogs. I
yeah.
like horses, so I mean I'll give pets like this, you know, like I'll just slap a horse. So I'm like, I'm gonna break a baby.
yeah
So even like my nieces and nephews, I'm like, give them to me when they're like 6 months, you know, when I
yeah
can like
when
like
you yeah you're like I can squeeze them and stuff.
I can squeeze
Yeah.
them and they can put like newborns. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know how you
That's
do
so
it.
funny. You're just like
I mean, I get it. You're like, you don't know how to carry a baby, but at the same time,
that's the only way you
that's the
know.
only way I ever carried a baby. It's like
That
this.
makes sense. That's really
So
funny,
when my
actually.
mom takes me to see like my cousins having babies, like, do you want to carry them? I was like,
And
no,
you're like,
woman.
no.
Like,
Yeah, you're like, no. You want me to be awkwardly
do you want me
just
to? Do you want me to find a couch
yeah.
and like sit
You're
down?
like, okay, sit down and just don't move.
It's like with dogs. Like they trained you to like, okay, sit, put your hands like
Yeah.
that,
Oh my
and that's
cheeks.
the only one I do. I know how to do it.
That's so funny. Well, the more you do it, the easier
I
it
mean,
gets, but
yes,
it's always scary.
and
So
especially when they're yours. That's what they say, right?
yeah, I like yeah, I don't know. Even whenever so we had the big gap, so we relearned how to hold newborns, but I was
Yeah.
even that I was like, how the heck do I hold this baby?
Yeah. But like dropping someone else's baby,
Oh my god, that'd be scary.
yeah.
I don't want to do it. Okay, I'm gonna take 2 of these, and then
Okay.
you take 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Take 2, whichever ones you want. I'm a magician on the side, just so you know.
Okay.
Just kidding. Okay. We're just gonna do some funny questions.
The math I learned in school is completely useless in my day-to-day life.
Most of it.
Most of it, yeah.
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 Like really. I have said this before. They need to teach people more like life skills than
They do, for sure. I feel like if they had focused also a little bit more on percentages, I'm not that good with percentages.
No.
And I feel it's like one of the things that I use the most, like when you go out to a restaurant or like
Yes.
a tip or something like that. And that's like basic percentages, like
That
10%,
is.
50%, I mean,
No,
20.
it is, yeah.
But I mean, like algebra, really?
Yeah.
I'm still
Pythagorean
looking for the
theorem.
X. Oh my
I'm still
God.
looking for the X.
The value of X.
Geometry, like, come on, that's why my husband's measuring things.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I think there was this other day, super cute. There was this mom with 3 little boys, and she was picking out avocados,
Mhm.
and the boy was just like, this one, this one, this one. And her mom's like, no, no, you need to grab them. Don't squeeze it too hard.
Yeah.
And if it's, then it's good. And I was like, there you go. That's a life skill.
That
that's
is.
that's something you need to be taught. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, because the little boy, of course, he's like rough. He's like, like squeezing the avocado to death. But it's the little things sometimes.
That's so
yeah.
true. I graduated high school with a lot of math and not a lot of life skills.
Well, let me tell you this. I suck at math. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
No, me neither.
I can barely add and multiply.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. No, Andy will be like, "Hey, take these numbers down, right?" And he's like, "What's this plus this plus this?" And I'm like thinking, and he's like, "It's 523." And I'm like, "Why did you ask me?"
I have, you know what? I'm really good with coming up with like the quick answer,
Really?
but I don't trust myself.
Oh yeah.
I think I was I was so bad at math that I was like, no, no, no. My
I
my
can't be
brain
right.
cannot possibly do this right without writing it down.
Yeah.
And then I write it down and it's like,
You're like, I was right.
there you go.
That's so funny. Okay, let's
Yeah,
see.
your turn. Yeah.
Okay, some celebrities are more influential than the president.
Ooh.
I
Yes.
think a lot of celebrities
Yes.
probably are.
And probably also because of social media.
Exactly.
Because we get to see and hear them more on their day to day. I think
Mhm.
before we didn't get to hear a whole lot of, I don't know, Grace Kelly.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean, you would hear whatever she said at an interview like a month later or two
Yes.
weeks later in a magazine, but
Mhm.
now we get to
It's
hear
right
what
there.
celebrities say right away,
Well,
good or bad.
good and bad. I actually think that celebrities help endorse presidents now
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
have that much power. Like,
yeah.
you know?
Well, celebrities are usually followed by people who love them.
Yes.
So, of course, if you love somebody, you listen
You
more to
listen
them.
to them,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it shouldn't always be like that.
Right.
You can't just go by what celebrities say.
No, you cannot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't agree that it's right, but I think it's accurate.
it's accurate.
Yeah.
I think that's the okay. My turn.
Yeah.
Employers should be able to use your social media content against you in the hiring process.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
This is why I kept it.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
tough one. I think okay, my business Priscilla would say yes.
yeah.
Obviously. Like it's a no-brainer. Um the Lady on the Street podcast person would say like I hope not.
I think yeah, it's yes and no.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're a content creator,
Yeah.
you have a little bit more wiggle room and freedom, so I think it shouldn't really be taken a whole lot into account.
Yes.
But if you have a 9 to 5, if you have like an additional work, a second job, employer, whatever, we have to be conscious about what we post.
We do.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. And people
Especially,
should know that.
yeah, especially when it's like more of a personal account.
Yeah.
Like if it's personal and you're posting all that,
Yeah.
it's like the employer can be like, okay.
Well, and it's funny too because even on my personal page, my work people will
Mhm.
like follow me.
Yeah.
You know? I don't post anything crazy because I'm a mom of three. Like, how
Yeah.
crazy am I getting?
Yeah.
But I'm like, some people should probably know that they're not adding you most of the time, or in all. It's not every instance that they add you because
Yeah.
they genuinely want to be friends with you. They want to see what's going on.
What's going on?
Yeah,
And a lot of times I, it's just, oh my gosh, this could be a whole
it's
episode.
crazy.
Um, it's it's weird because again, we live in this day and age that social media can be a safe space for us to express ourselves.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it can also be kind of like your presentation card for a lot of
right.
people.
Yes.
So either your account is completely private and you just post for yourself and for other people, or you are very conscious about what you put out there.
Yeah.
Because we go back to saying that whatever you post on the internet is there forever.
It is. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one though.
it's a good one.
I think that your brand is very. I know you're conscious about what you put out there because there's nothing bad on your page.
Thank you.
So
Well, I think also that comes to the point that there's so much bad and overwhelming stuff going on in the world that I don't need to see it from everybody else.
yeah.
I do agree that sometimes we have to use our platform for good and for spreading awareness and everything, but at the same time, it's like whatever you put out there and how you put it out there, it'll ruffle some feathers no matter what you say.
Right.
So I feel like I try to respect everyone's point of view. I may not agree with it,
Yeah.
but you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
And again, it's there's so much evil going on in the world that I don't need to see it in my
Yeah.
own little space.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But I think that's why.
Okay, the last one that I have. The drinking age should be lowered.
Ugh.
I say no.
Hmm.
Is it different in Mexico
It
City?
is.
I'm like, wait a minute. What is it over there? Is it
18.
18? Okay.
You know what? Yes, I, in a way, in Mexico, I think you start drinking a little bit younger,
Mhm.
but also you don't, no offense, this is not personal.
No,
You don't go to college like being like, oh my God, I can
I
drink.
can drink. That's
Yeah.
very
So I feel
true.
you go into college like, okay, it's normal. I can order a drink. I can do this. I don't have to have a fake ID.
Yeah, I don't have to binge before. I don't.
It also makes no sense to me. I mean, we might be getting into like a little bit of a touchy subject, but how you're old enough to go to war in the US at
That's true.
18,
Yeah.
you're old enough to own a gun,
Yeah.
but you're not old enough to order your own beer.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying hard liquor, I'm just saying a beer.
A beer. Yeah.
So,
That's true.
are you responsible enough to go to war for your country but not to order a beer?
Oh, you bring up a good point. You might be swaying me a little
Mhm.
bit with that in mind that like you're right. People don't drink until they're 21 and when they turn
Yeah.
21 they go crazy.
Or they start looking around for ways to drink before 21 anyway.
Right, I'm like everybody I don't want to speak for everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of people drink before they're 21.
But that even in Mexico, I mean, the drinking age is 18, and still we sometimes like would go to a party and find this, at 16. But even that happens
Exactly.
here.
Yeah, that happens here. I think
It
my first party
shouldn't.
was like 14,
Yeah,
15, and I was
it
like,
shouldn't. But even high school parties,
it
unfortunately,
happens.
there
Yeah.
is alcohol involved a lot of times.
Yeah.
But so I think I would see when I came here, I was like, people, I know friends were like, oh my God, we're going to this club and this and that. And I was like, meh, like,
You're like,
done that, been
yeah.
there, kind of,
Oh, that's an interesting point of view.
yeah.
I like that point of view. But see, that's unique to you because I wouldn't, all I know is like this
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So you have like a duel where you can see
It's,
both sides
yeah.
and it seems beneficial what you experienced.
And it's, yeah, I think what I experience is that, like, I feel like, okay, whatever, like, I'm ready to start college or whatever. But I was also never a heavy drinker. Like, I
Yeah.
was an athlete and everything, so
Mhm.
never a heavy drinker. But I feel like, yes, like, at 18, alcohol is not as big as a deal because, like,
Yeah.
when you're in college, like, whatever, like, I can get a beer whenever I want to.
Yeah.
But I get it. A lot of kids here, going back to the thing, they move out at 18.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of responsibility.
It is. And
Um,
like free will. Like you get to just do whatever
yes.
you want.
But then I think that is my thing that contradicts. If everything in the US, like if the legal age was 21 for everything,
Yeah.
I would understand it more.
Yeah.
I just do not understand how cigarettes are 18.
Yeah. Well,
Are they?
cigarettes are 21 now, right? I think that they changed it, but for many years
Okay.
it was 18.
Yeah. So I think maybe that's where I don't get it.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Good point. Oh, my goodness.
Save it for next episode.
I know. I know. Oh, no. Okay. Well, I had such a good time.
If I had a teenage child
Yeah.
right now, I would say the legal age would be 45.
I know. 60.
60. There you go. Not a sip until you're 60. Until you retire.
Yes, I know. I'm like, no. Yeah. Retirement
is when you get to enjoy that first sip.
Yeah, we can't be naive though.
No.
It happens. So, but I love that. Baloo, we're talking to you.
We're talking to you. You're not getting that sip.
Oh my goodness, Ari, I had such a good time getting to know you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes.
This was so nice.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let everybody know where can they find you?
Oh, so you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Basically, everything is my Instagram handle, which is at the Toasty Life for my last name. It is not a food blog. I get that a lot. And YouTube, I think YouTube for some reason is under my name, Ari Alvarez Sostalo, but I think if you type in the Toasty Life, it pops up.
Yeah, it does.
It does? Okay.
I can confirm.
You can confirm. I recently just learned that my YouTube handle is not the Toasty Life.
I think you're right. I
Yeah.
think when I looked up the Toasty Life and it did come up with you, but it's your name.
It's my
instead.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to always add my handle
Yeah.
in the videos so that it pops up
Yeah.
if you look for it.
Well, thank you so much for putting on your content out there for all of us to see, for inspiring us to buy red boots.
Red boots. Thank you so much. And honestly, this was awesome. And love chatting about the red boots.
I know, right?
And the fashion.
And fashion, all the things. I know. Well, this is a girl who knows what she's talking about. So make sure you go and follow her at the Toasty Life. And of course, make sure you're following, liking, subscribing, do all the things for Lady on the Street podcast. Can't wait to have you guys back for another episode. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.